Throughout the past year, we've adapted to a completely different way of life and have found new ways to connect with friends. But at the very start of the pandemic, there was a unique experience that brought millions of people together and can't quite be recreated. Animal Crossing: New Horizons came out on March 20th, 2020, exactly 1 year ago today. While every release of an Animal Crossing game is huge, this one was different from others, and I think many of the people watching this video right now can attest to that. The game came out just 1 week after COVID-19 restrictions were being placed around the world, which completely changed the experience for players, and I wanted to go over all of the different aspects of that with you today. Before we get into it, I just want to say that if you enjoy this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm at 70 subscribers right now, and I'd really appreciate your support in growing my channel. Let's get right into it. Things were uncertain. We didn't know much about the virus and how to deal with the changes happening in the world, and people were forced into strict lockdowns. By day 3, celebrities were already having mental breakdowns.
Imagine there's no heaven. Easy if you try.
No hell below us.
Pretty soon after all of these things started happening, Animal Crossing: New Horizons released. People had been anticipating a brand new home console Animal Crossing game for over 7 years, but despite all the anticipation, no one could have expected how big of a phenomenon it would become. It came just 1 week after people were forced into lockdowns and couldn't live their regular life. What a lucky accident for Nintendo, who originally planned to release the game in 2019. Now, it's the second best-selling Switch game of all time and racing to claim the first spot. At a time where people were scared and had to get used to living in a brand new world, New Horizons provided an escape. You could spend time with your friends, dress up your villager, decorate your home, and build your own island paradise from the ground up. And the best part? You could do it all with friends. Considering that online infrastructure for schools and workplaces was primitive compared to how it is now, lots of people had significantly more free time to spend, and no sleep schedule to worry about, meaning that people could spend a lot more time in this virtual world than they would ever have otherwise. I know I wouldn't have played the game as much as I did if my school wasn't cancelled for the entire first month after the game came out. With people needing a replacement for social gatherings and having way more free time, the game was bound to be a success. Previous Animal Crossing games always provided a warm and cozy feeling to the player. You would enter a pre-existing town with lots of buildings and welcoming villagers to talk to. Millions of people were already absolutely in love with the series, but for the concept of New Horizons, it does exactly what the name suggests. It moves away from the idea of entering an already existing town, but instead, you create your own community as part of a deserted island getaway package. While any new Animal Crossing game would have taken off in quarantine, this one's central focus matched especially well. While many things in the real world were looking down, you could enter New Horizons and build your own paradise. The game has you clean up your island to make space for things, you can place houses and items wherever you want. Important buildings like stores that used to be locked away in pre-made areas can now be placed anywhere, and much more. The game has more customization than any previous Animal Crossing game, allowing the player to dress and look however they want. Even the very soundtrack adds to this feel. I personally love the music of previous Animal Crossing games, but New Horizons has a very pleasant and islandy feel to it, which only really works for this style of Animal Crossing game. Whether it's songs that play early in the morning, afternoon tunes, songs perfect for the middle of the day, or relaxing nighttime music. It all captures the mood really well. It honestly feels like every aspect of the game was handcrafted for quarantine, even though it was a complete coincidence. Speaking of handcrafted, The crafting system allowing you to build your own equipment and furniture was also a welcome addition. I could honestly go on and on about this stuff, but the point is that every single little gameplay mechanic added to the immersion of the experience, which made it an especially good escape during such an uncertain time that the world was facing. As great as the game is on its own, what made the experience even better was all the buzz when it came out. Wherever you went, you were gonna hear about the game. For the first month of the game's release, I could scroll through Twitter for hours and hours to just find Animal Crossing stuff. People would be showcasing their progress on their islands, sharing turnip prices with their friends, or making custom designs for the world to enjoy. This stuff bled over to every corner of the internet. I would launch Instagram and see people storying stuff about the game. Lots of people I know would play online Smash Bros matches and bet their bells on them. While everyone was separated due to the lockdown, people bonded over New Horizons. I mentioned turnip prices earlier, and let me tell you, the craze for these was insane. Everyone wanted to play the in-game stock market, where you could buy and sell turnips to make money. Even the turnip seller, Daisy May, received tons of popularity online. Every Sunday, also known as Turnip Buying Day, after the game came out, Daisy May would be trending on Twitter. And it wasn't just her. Other popular villagers were being talked about a lot. People exploring different islands in search of their favorite villager was a common thing people did in the game, and that's about it. There's definitely not a villager that became extremely popular, caused literal wars on the internet, created massive controversies, was covered extensively by journalists, and broke dozens of friendships. Nope, none. Absolutely none. Another thing that took off online was the custom design feature, which allowed people to make and upload whatever their heart desired. Lots of artists had fun with this feature, and I personally had a great time with it too. Spending hours crafting the perfect flag for your island seemed so pointless, yet ended up being so enjoyable for many. The game was made better by playing with friends. You could get new items, find different fruits, and share the experience of playing the game together. But the social media storm went even further than that. Lots of companies and groups of people were using it as part of marketing campaigns. But the biggest one had to be the official Joe Biden Animal Crossing Island, which was made public just a few weeks before the 2020 US presidential election. The game's big, but so big that the team running a campaign for a major US presidential candidate thought it was worthwhile to use Animal Crossing? Now that's just another level. It was so huge that following the election, Nintendo had to come up with new rules preventing political campaigns from using the game to advertise their candidate. Everyone knew beforehand that the game would be massive, but it was unbelievable how huge it actually became. Of course, this whole situation couldn't last forever. People are way more used to living with the virus now. Lots of schools and workplaces can operate now, and the initial period of hype for the game has died down. People are still enjoying New Horizons, and it's been getting new updates every few months to keep it fresh, but the experience now isn't quite the same as it was during those first few months of the pandemic, which is why I chose to make this video. To be honest, New Horizons isn't even my favorite game in the series. I actually prefer Animal Crossing New Leaf for the 3DS, but despite that, the experience New Horizons provided was a completely different level. I can't think of another game release that's happened at such a perfect time and was able to create so much buzz. Anyways, I think that's all I have to say for this video. Please let me know in the comments your experiences in the first few months of New Horizons release. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.